We are Meredith and Andy Gaunce of Gaunce Law. We are a general counsel for a small to medium-sized business. We do everything from I'm hiring my first employee to I have an issue with an employee to I'm starting a business or selling a business.
I won't be defined by your dreams, committed to my goals, yeah. Gotta do my own thing, keep up the hustling. I won't be defined by your dreams, committed to my goals, yeah. Gotta do my own thing.
Hi, welcome to Hustleburg. Thank you for sharing your time with us as we chat with entrepreneurs here in St. Petersburg, Florida. We talk about how they got started, how they built their business, and how they serve our community. I'm Brett Bittner, and I'm the host of Hustleburg, and I started Beyond Your Side Hustle because I found that most entrepreneurs lack the time and expertise to build their own digital marketing strategy and still get results. As an entrepreneur here in St. Pete myself, I love meeting and talking with fellow small business owners about what they do and sharing that conversation with you. Now, you may have noticed a few changes with the podcast lately. One of the biggest is that we're now doing video. So if you're only listening to this episode, whether it's on your favorite podcast player, radiostpete.com, or Sunshine 96.7 FM, please know that this episode and all future episodes are available for you to view on YouTube and beyondyoursidehustle.com. Just visit beyondyoursidehustle.com/YouTube to subscribe or to watch your favorite episode of Hustleburg. If you find anything of value in this episode, I encourage you to subscribe. And if you would, also rate and review the episode as well, because it sends us the right signals to know how the conversations add value for you. Finally, if you're interested in being a guest in an upcoming episode and you own a small business here in St. Pete, let us know by visiting beyondyoursidehustle.com/podcast guest. So, Meredith and Andy, why are you two guiding St. Pete business owners through the complex world of employment laws, regulations about business, and the contracts necessary to do business here in St. Pete?
We have a unique skill set in that we both worked for large companies, large law firms, and we realized that the things that we were doing were a need that smaller businesses had too. So we decided to open our firm 5 years ago and take the advice that we used to provide to the Starbucks of the world and, through the big firms and big corporate experience and kind of harness that in our community so that the local businesses would have those same resources.
Now, how is it that you guys go about serving the St. Pete business community?
Well, Brett, we offer our employment business law services. If you look at our website, we're targeted local. We were in corporate America for a long time. We come from families of entrepreneurs and want to be close to our community. So we try and partner with St. Pete Local and other local organizations and honestly strike up a conversation when we walk in a business and say, hey, who's your lawyer? How are things going? And we've made some great friendships and some great clients. 100% of our business is referral based. While we do some marketing activities, if you look at our lists, it's mostly this person and that person. Google rarely shows up as a referral source for us.
Now, who is it that's going to benefit the most from what you guys offer at Gaunce Law? Kind of who's the ideal client for you to serve that's going to get the most out of their relationship with you?
I think it's really any local business. It could be someone who, we get really excited when we're at the front end of starting a business and Andy will jump in with this is how you need to create your operating agreement and this is how you should structure and all of those things. And then usually when it's involves, I'm ready to bring on my first employee, my first contractor, that's where I get involved, kind of the more employment law side of the house. So we get really excited with that. But also, we have some clients that have been in operation for 40 years. They're getting their first EEOC charge, Department of Labor claim, trying to navigate COVID and paid sick leave laws. And they really just need somebody who can kind of be in their corner. They don't have the need for a full-time general counsel or an HR department, but they really need that support because they have people, and they've got contracts and they don't understand them, and nor should they, because it's not what they went to school for. So that's what we really like to do.
Now, you guys were working
you want to see
in the.
people on the, I'm sorry, Brett, didn't mean to talk over you there.
Oh,
We
no,
want to
no,
see
go ahead.
people at the start. That's usually the best
Yeah.
place. So a lot of our clients will just be starting their business or just be leaving their employer to start a new venture. And that's the place where we can help them avoid pitfalls and take all of the experience we have working with dozens and dozens of local businesses and say, I know you're thinking of doing this, but have you thought about doing it in a different way? Just that, we only have so much time and passion, and I want that to be driven into people's business, not spent untangling a mistake early on.
Now, you guys started the firm 5 years ago. Was there something that precipitated a move into guiding local business owners in some of these very first things and their HR and employment law and that kind of stuff? Was there something that kind of set that ball rolling for you, or how did it really come to be that you guys were helping business owners navigate their legal potential issues?
So this was something Andy and we met at our first job out of law school, like,
Okay.
I don't know, 14 years ago, I think. And we knew pretty early on that we were sort of square peg round hole in the, law firm, corporate America life, and that we
Okay.
really wanted to be working with our community and doing something a little more close to where our heart is. But we needed the experience and we needed the skill set, and we needed to kind of really put in our time getting the knowledge that we needed to be the best resource for local businesses. So about 5 years ago, we were about 10 years out of law school. We'd been practicing. We had some good experience, and we also had a baby. And we realized that we wanted to, Andy was commuting to Clearwater and traveling a lot internationally for work. I was driving every day to Tampa. We weren't spending as much time in St. Pete as we wanted to. We realized there is no perfect time to do this. So we're up, all night with a baby anyway. Let's start a law firm. So, that's what we did.
Now, I found in talking with some professional service providers, those in the fields of medicine and counseling and in law, that you spend so much of your education, your postgraduate education work, working on the craft, but not a lot in the way of building your business. So what type of business background did you guys have? Was it just the experience that you'd had previously with your prior firms, and you just said, hey, look, we've got an awesome opportunity, let's do this now? Or was there something that helped you kind of build the business?
But I was fortunate my grandfather started grocery stores after World War I, and I was fortunate to grow up in a really entrepreneurial family. When I think when I was 13, I had the keys and the alarm code. So that is some foundational experience. Was in the Marine Corps after I got out of high school and learned a lot of leadership and kind of organizational dynamics. And then working in-house at Tech Data, kind of when you're a lawyer in a corporation, you're more of a business partner than an outside advisor. So you have to understand the practicalities of running a business. And in fact, before I left that job and started this firm, I had started another company and had a side job. So the passion for businesses and wanting to see all the cool ways that people, choose to spend their time and make a living was a huge driver for me.
Now, what is one thing that you would like every member of the Hustleburg community to know about what it's like to do business here in the Burg?
People have been so supportive. When we opened our doors in 2016 and bought a building on First Avenue South, people have just reached out unsolicited and said, what can we do to help you? You're investing in our community. What can we do? I've lived in a lot of different places. I've never seen that anywhere else. And just the past weekend, we went out and did a alley cleanup with the Grand Central District Association. And it was, the brew house owner and owners of local businesses here that, just the sense of pride and the sense of community I don't think you can find that anywhere else. So if you're starting a business, tell people, reach out to them, because you're going to get help back in droves.
I've definitely seen that as I started Beyond Your Side Hustle. I completely understand just the community that kind of builds around you as you get started. Now, I'm somebody who doesn't like to look at what some people call failures as such. I prefer to think of them as lessons that I've learned. So, what would you say is the most important lesson that you have learned, either for yourself or for a client, when it's come to being in business?
I would say don't be afraid to ask for help and recognize what you don't know. So I think a lot of times we all have, well, a lot of us have that I want to help mentality. And so
Mhm.
we don't want to say, well, that's not really in my wheelhouse, or that I'm not an expert in that. And Andy and I refer out more cases than we take, more clients than we take, because we have such a solid network of colleagues who practice other areas of law. And it's really important to us when you call our office that we get you in the best hands. And if that's not us, we'll admit that. And we will proudly say, look, that's not an employment law issue. That is not a business law issue. You really need a family law attorney. Here are some names of some awesome ones that we trust. And so I think knowing what you don't know and being, not too stubborn to say that is really going to behoove you and your business in the long run.
Andy, anything you've got to add that you've learned?
I will just surrounding yourself with smart people and people who can fill in the gaps. For me, it's an accountant and an insurance broker, somebody I can pick up the phone and say, XYZ client who has a bar on Central Avenue is worried about this issue. I don't I don't know how to answer it, but can you help me? And putting those people together, it's amazing what that kind of that network effect, how much that can save you time and also just deliver value for us. It's the same people I call and ask questions about our business and for our clients. It's a really huge asset.
What are some of the most inspiring things you've worked on in the community? Not just St. Pete locally, but the legal community as well. Just anything that you've had an opportunity to be a part of that has really been inspiring for you guys.
I sit on the board of the SPCA Tampa Bay, and Meredith and I, we had 4 dogs in our wedding. We are the epitome of dedicated, passionate animal people. And throughout our marriage, we participated in animal welfare organizations. Meredith was on the Clearwater Marine Aquarium board before we came to St. Pete. She was on some boards in Savannah, Georgia. And SPCA Tampa Bay is a phenomenal organization. Been there for 80 years. Is part of the community. And that's where I dedicate a lot of my time and passion outside of my family work.
Now, you mentioned that you get a lot of referrals. How do most of your clients find out about you? What are you doing to advertise and market without crossing that solicitation line that I know is a big deal in the legal community?
We've been fortunate in that a lot of our clients are long-term clients. So
Okay.
we don't do a lot of sometimes you call an attorney because you're in the midst of a crisis, and we do that as well. But a lot of our clients are starting businesses, or we have a business, and we won't hear from them for months at a time, but then they're ready to bring on an investor, or they're ready to hire again, or they have possibly an issue with an employee and they need some help transitioning them out. Whatever the case may be, we kind of, a lot of our clients are along, we're along for the ride. So so that's really great when you don't hear from someone in a while. I mean, usually no news is good news with your lawyers, but and then when they reach out and you get to hear from them again, it's wonderful. But we refer to other attorneys who practice in different practice areas. We have a lot of attorneys in the area that know that this is our niche and this is all we do, and we don't dabble. And we are not too proud to say, no, that's not a case for us to take, but we will find someone who will be really good hands for you. So yeah, I think we've been really fortunate. We do some social media marketing. If you're not following us on social media, please do. There's lots of posts of our dogs and our son, and we try and post things in a way that is not super like lame lawyer speak, but in ways that people will understand and kind of take home some of the messaging that we put out there.
Brett,
Now,
what do you
where are
see
y'all?
other professional services firms doing? What do you see in this market? What kind of effective marketing for professional services firms?
I think one of the biggest things that I'm seeing is people talking about how they're able to help and telling the story. Obviously, you have to change names and situations a bit in the legal community specifically. But I think that when you're able to actually tell a story that will resonate with someone because they have a similar situation, and you guys are using the right tools to do that with social media, using Facebook Live to tell those kind of things. Telling stories via video is a fantastic way that I've seen people, especially in the professional services field, talk about how they're helping from, oh my gosh, I'm in the pits of despair, to, wow, I can't believe you helped get me to this point where I'm out of that pit and I'm happy and thriving again. I think those are probably the most effective ways to share the story of what you do, because you're sharing the stories of the heroes that you've been the guide to help get to hero status. So are y'all from here? Or I think Meredith and I have a similar home state. We're both alums. You can see right here, University of Georgia, and
Go
then
dogs.
right here is the Terry College of Business rendering that they gave with my diploma when I graduated. So Meredith, you're from Georgia, right?
I am. Yeah, I grew up in Savannah, and then I went to Emory for
Okay.
undergrad and University of Georgia for law school. So, yeah.
And I grew up in Kentucky. So 4 generations of my family are in one small town in Kentucky, and my generation is the first to kind of spread our wings a little bit and go out there. And we found St. Pete about 12 years ago and lived a lot of different places. And St. Pete's my favorite place on earth, our favorite place on earth.
It's hard to really argue with 360 days of sunshine a year. I was actually looking, a friend of mine was talking about how great or how beautiful New Hampshire looked yesterday. And I said, yeah, but it looks that beautiful here every day. And we have palm trees, and we only have maybe one day where we have to worry about freezing temperatures. So I think we win.
Yeah.
When you guys aren't working, what are some of your favorite things to do in and around town? I know over the last year that's probably changed a little bit, but what are some of the hobbies and activities that you guys are involved in?
So we have a 5-year-old son who doesn't stop moving. So we frequent a lot of the parks and playgrounds. Usually you'll see Andy on his skateboard, me on my scooter, my son on his scooter. We have dogs, so we're often outside playing with the dogs. And pre-COVID and hopefully again soon, if there is a market, a farmer's market, a craft fair, anything like that, we will be there front and center. I make jewelry kind of as my side creative outlet, and Andy is a musician, and so we really appreciate the people who nurture their creative energy through local crafts, and so we try and support local artists wherever, whenever we can.
Do you have any of those local artists you'd like to give a shout out to, just to kind of give them a little bit of love in the Hustleburg community?
Sure. So I'm a huge fan of Playa Paper. Okay. If you guys haven't checked them out, especially over the past year, her cards are just gorgeous. And it's one of the ways that I feel like I've been able to touch family, friends, clients that I haven't been able to see, are to send these sort of thoughtful, artistic cards with messaging in them. So if you haven't checked her out, I'm a huge fan.
Now, do you guys have anything?
Favorite local artist, Brett, is Meredith. She and Melanie Bowman are. I just got the sample of your upcoming travel book, Traveling in St. Pete. So when we lived in Savannah, Meredith wrote a book, published a book about traveling in Savannah, and now 10 years later, she and Melanie have published another one with St. Pete Press, which is affiliated with the St. Pete Catalyst. So awesome. Definitely my favorite artist in town.
Do you guys have anything upcoming that you want to make sure that listeners and viewers in the Hustleburg community put on their calendars here in 2021?
We're still working on solidifying the date, but if you follow us on social media, which I would recommend you doing on Instagram and Facebook, we're going to be posting soon a free webinar for businesses, kind of local, some pitfalls, some tips and tricks, things that you can have on your horizon for, if your plans are to grow, to sell, whatever the case may be, some things that you just may want to, tools in your arsenal. So we're going to be putting that together in May. So the date should be posted in the next week or two. So keep an eye out for that.
Well, it's like you were reading my mind. The last question that I have is, where can people find out more about how you serve the business community, and how can they connect with you? What are some of the best ways to do that?
I would say definitely Instagram and Facebook. Also, we have a newsletter that we send out, and we will not flood your mailbox, because we know how annoying that is, and it like hurts my heart when people unsubscribe. So we try and make them only only when pertinent things come up. So for instance, I mean, over the last year, when there were changes with, paid sick leave laws and stuff, we would just make sure that people knew about them. We became kind of a go-to for all of our clients on the PPP loan opportunities. Okay. So really, if there is anything that will help your business, support your business, promote your business, that's what we want to do, because when our clients do well, we do well. I mean, when, we want you to succeed. So it's a really cool niche that we have, because we get to really be cheerleaders for St. Pete businesses, for our clients. And it just is fulfilling.
Awesome, guys. If you're listening and you're worried about having missed some of the places where you can find them, don't worry. They're in the show notes. You can find that at beyondyoursidehustle.com/Gaunce Law. If you are watching this, it's going to be right down at the bottom in the show notes there. If you're listening on your favorite player, don't worry. If they don't carry links in the HTML, you can always go to beyondyoursidehustle.com/Gaunce Law to make sure that you're able to connect. We'll make sure that we have a link to the newsletter, to gauncelaw.com, their Facebook, and their Instagram. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with the Hustleburg community today about what you're able to do to help people do business here in the Burg.
Thank you, Brett.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, you did it. You've just listened to Hustleburg. Hustleburg is produced by Beyond Your Side Hustle, where we help you craft an awesome strategy for your business and build a community that supports you today and in the future. We help budding entrepreneurs go beyond their side hustle and into the business they're dreaming of. If we provided you with something valuable with this podcast, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcast player, especially you Apple Podcast listeners. This is something that only takes a few seconds that will help us shine the spotlight on all the great businesses St. Pete has to offer and grow our community. Speaking of great businesses here in St. Pete, if you're a small business owner here and you'd like to share the story of your business with the Hustleburg community, please let us know by visiting beyondyoursidehustle.com/podcast guest. Did you know that at Beyond Your Side Hustle, we're helping small business owners reach ideal engagement on any social media platform with a free 3-week training by email? It's available for you at beyondyoursidehustle.com/3weeks. You can also find a link for it in the show notes. Start right now to learn how you can fix your feed to serve you, start engaging on social the right way, and create a community around you and your business. The opening music in this episode is Defining Your Dreams by my friend Rhymer Educator. I encourage you to check him out on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to great music. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to sharing with you how we do business in the Burg.